It's Ellen Violette here, and today I want to talk about Amazon ranking. And the reason I want to do that is that there's a lot of confusion, I think, about how to look at it and how to figure out what it means and how you can use it to your advantage. So I want to talk about how to use it so that you can become a best-selling author, so you can increase your visibility and you can pump up your sales, and they're not all the same. Okay, so this always says to swipe this to see my viewers, and yet there we go. Oh, hi John. Okay, that's weird. It says can't invite this guest. Sorry, that's bizarre. Okay. Hi Teresa. So as I go through this, feel free to comment and let me know what you feel that you're getting out of it, that you're finding helpful to you, or what your takeaways are that you didn't expect. So what we're going to do is talk about Amazon ranking, and there are two ways to look at it. And one of them is overall ranking, and one of them is not overall ranking. Okay, and I said I was going to start at noon, and I also promised people that they could get into Facebook Live now. That they could get into Facebook Live. So I'm just going to do this on Facebook Live. Okay. Because I really like to be on time when I say I'm going to, but sometimes it takes longer than I think it's going to take to get going here and let everybody know. So, okay. Anyway, so there are two kinds of rankings, okay? And the one ranking is overall, and the other ranking is in the categories. And so you use them differently, and this is what people don't understand. So what you do is you look at the categories to see where you want your book to go. And there are all different kinds of categories, and a lot of times people think that they should be in a category that they really shouldn't be in, and I'll give you an example. For instance, I have many, well, maybe not many, but I've had quite a few women come to me who are writing a memoir, and so they think they should put it in memoirs. But the truth is, memoirs is not really good. This is a little aside, but memoirs isn't really the best place, because if you're not famous, you're not going to get found in memoirs. So what I always try to do in that case is get them to look at, why did they want to write that memoir, and what other category could it go in. And so the reason I'm telling you that is if they go and they put it in the category for memoirs, they're not going to do well in that category. So they're not going to be a #1 bestseller, okay, unless they're on all the TV shows and they're going the whole route and they get famous. So that's why it's important, because if you look at it in the categories, hi Doug, if you as you get takeaways from here, please comment, let me know what you're thinking, say hello, I'd love to hear from you. So that's why it's important to understand the categories, because in that category, that person is not going to rank well. Okay, so you do want to find categories where you can rank well, especially when you're doing a bestseller launch. Okay, when you're doing a bestseller launch, the idea is to get it to #1, but also to get visibility. So if you get it in a category where there isn't hardly any books, you'll get to #1. But usually when there aren't a lot of books in a category, there's a reason, and the reason is that those books aren't selling, or that category isn't selling. So you don't really want to be in that category. You'd like to be in another category. But it doesn't mean you can't use that category. It just means you should also find a category that does sell well. But you want to have one where you can actually get to #1. So you're always trying to find that balance between where can you rank and where can you get seen. So, those two things are being in the right categories, but then also being in categories where there's enough visibility and people are interested enough in it that it makes a difference that you're a #1 bestseller. Because it doesn't really help your career to be a #1 bestseller in a category that isn't selling. Hi Marsh, nice to see you here. So, and I talked, about that yesterday, the myths about Amazon. So if you didn't see that, you can go back and see it. And if you're not seeing it, hi, Veronica. If you're not seeing it on my Facebook page, then you can always go to onlinesuperstarstrategies.com /Facebook Live. And you'll get the ones that I've just done. So anyway, because I'll send them out. So that's my point, is that when you're looking for categories, that's what you're looking for. But when you're looking at Amazon ranking overall, you're looking in all of Amazon. Okay, that's every single book in Amazon. So obviously the best book is #1 in all of Amazon. And when they're in the 100,000s and the millions, that's not good. Okay. So you're trying to get into a category where you can get found, but it's unrealistic for most people to think you're going to get in the top, 500 even, or 1,000. But I'm not saying that you can't do it. And again, I talked yesterday about how you can, what the things that you need to do that. But my point is that in the overall ranking of Amazon, what you're looking at is how books are selling overall. So in other words, when you go to any book and you look at the ranking, it's going to show you the overall ranking, and then it's going to show you the category ranking. So you're looking at the category ranking to see how the books are doing relative to the other books, and if they're, a lot of books, not a lot of books, whatever. But you're also looking at the overall ranking, because I see this all the time. I was just working with someone the other day, I can't remember who it was, but we were looking at the book they wanted to do, and the #1 book was at like 30,000, whereas a lot of other times the #1 book is at 10,000. So that tells you that the books are selling better in a category with 10,000 than in a category with 30,000, even though they're both #1. So I hope that makes sense to everybody. But that's the point, and I think that's where people get confused, is that one is you're looking at how do they sell overall, and the other one you're looking at how are they selling relative to the other books in that category. So when you're looking at overall ranking, like 1 to 5,000 are the books that are selling the most in Amazon, all over Amazon. And even between like 1 and 1,500 or 2,000 are selling a lot better than 3,000 to 5,000, but they're all selling 3 to 15 books a day or more. And then as you go up, the number of sales go down. So after that, it's 5,000 to 10,000, 10,000 to 15,000, and so on. And so once you get up to 75,000, 100,000, people are not selling books very often. So that's what the overall ranking means. So when you go into Amazon and you see a ranking in a category where the top book is only at 60,000, let's say, they're not selling any books. It's just not a good category. But if you go in there and it's one that's selling, 30,000, you can sell books, not as many as if it's 10,000 or 5,000. So that is the difference between the Amazon overall ranking and the categories. Okay, so I'm going to say it one more time in case you came in late or you didn't understand what I'm saying. And I would love to hear your comments. And, if you have any questions about this. I know this is very confusing to people, okay, to some people. I know because I work with people all the time. The very first thing I always have people do is we have breaking news that the healthcare just passed for that first hurdle, which I'm not thrilled about. But anyway, so oh, hi. Okay, so I can see you here. Hi. Okay, so again. The point is that there are two kinds of rankings. Okay, there's overall ranking, and then there is category ranking. And so that's what you're going to look at. You look at both of them. You look at the category ranking because you're trying to get to #1. So if you're doing a bestseller launch, you want to find a category that you can get to #1 in that category, which means you only have to beat the person who's at #1 now. And some categories are easy to do. Some are virtually impossible if you don't have a huge list or a lot of JV partners, or you just happen to get in at the right time. So when you're thinking about the bestseller, that's what you want to do. You want to think about beating the person who's number one. What are they at? What number are they at in that? Well, they're number one. You're trying to beat that person, but what is their ranking, and can you beat their ranking? And then the other way is looking at the Amazon overall categories, so that you're looking at how many books sell per day in this category. Is this a good category? I mean, yeah, is this a good category overall for the books that I'm looking at? And I have a process for how I show people, where they should be looking, and how to use some of the information on the page in order to create new titles from those without stealing what's already there. And then I'll just give you another little tip, is you also want to always make sure that you look for the domain name as well, and make sure that you can get that as well. Because if people can't, the whole thing is if people can't find your book, they can't buy your book, right? And if people can't find your book, it won't end up being a bestseller. So that's the whole purpose. That's what we're trying to do. And so that's why you need to understand the categories and the overall Amazon ranking. So I hope that makes sense. Have a great day. That's it for today. Bye-bye.